Hello everyone, welcome back to Great Brick Creations. My name is Michaela and today I'm going to be starting a new embroidery project. I got this cute winter hat from my local store and I'm going to be embroidering around the label here, so come with me to see how it turns out. For this embroidery project, I drew the design myself on Procreate. So I'm going to start by pulling that design off of Procreate and I need to upload it onto Canva. So here you can see I'm downloading it off of Procreate, opening up Canva, getting it onto Canva, and then I need to get it sized appropriately on Canva as well. Once it looks like I have the sizing correct, I am going to close Canva on my iPad and I'm going to open up Canva on my computer. Now that I'm in Canva on the computer, I'm going to go into that design that I was working on my iPad previously, and I'm going to pull the design that I want to work on today off of Canva and onto my computer. My next step in this process is going to be to pull this design into Word, Microsoft Word, so I can print it out. I'm just doing a double check on my measurements here, and then I'm going to start by printing it out on a yellow piece of paper that's just a standard piece of paper as my test piece. I'm going to measure it and make sure all my measurements look correct. Since this is the first time I've done this specific type of project, I'm just double checking all my measurements before I get started. After confirming the measurements, I am going to use my X-Acto knife to cut out the middle gray section of this design. This is the section where the logo is going to sit. Like I said, since it's my first time doing a project like this, I just want to double check everything before I print my design on the stitch stabilizer paper. Now that I've confirmed the size is correct, I'm going to take out my water-soluble stabilizer paper and get the design printed on that. And I'm actually going to print 2 designs on this piece of paper, just so I don't waste a whole page on just one design. And here you can see the 2 designs that I printed out. This is the one I'm going to be working on today, and this is going to be one for another time. Next, I'm going to go ahead and cut my pattern out of the water-soluble paper so it will fit on the brim of the hat that I'm actually working on. Just like I did with my yellow test paper, I'm going to go ahead and use my X-Acto knife to cut out the gray square in the middle of this pattern so that I can place the pattern onto the hat and see exactly where I want to put it. Now that I have a nice little square opening in the middle of my pattern, I'm going to lay it over the logo on the hat one more time just to make sure it fits. I'm then going to turn the hat inside out so that there's only one layer of fabric for when I'm embroidering and it's not doubled over. And now I'm going to get ready to stick this onto the hat. Whenever I'm dealing with a sticky pattern or laminate or anything like that, I always like to stick down a corner first to kind of hold my spot where I want my pattern to be, and then I peel off the rest of the backing and stick the remainder of the pattern or the remainder of the laminate onto my project piece. Now that the pattern's on the hat comes my favorite part of the project, which is picking colors. I have quite a few floss colors. Sometimes they're kind of all over the place, but I took them all out for this project. I didn't really have any colors in mind at first, but I knew I wanted to do some greens for the leaves, and then maybe some pink and yellow for the flowers. When I was looking at the colors of floss I noticed I had a gold that matched the Carhartt logo pretty well, so I thought I would use that for a couple of the flowers to kind of tie everything together. In the end, I ended up picking these two greens, kind of a darker green for some of the leaves and stems, the lighter green, the gold, the lighter pink, and then the darker kind of pinkish magenta type color. I did use these two pinks on a previous project I did. You can see that here. Check out that video if you're interested. During my whole process of making this hat, my cat was squeezed into this little tiny box, and I just thought it was too cute not to share. Obviously the box is not big enough for him, but somehow he squeezed in there. Look at how cute. Alright, enough of him. Let's get back to the project. Now that I have my colors picked and the pattern on, it is time to actually start embroidering. So here we go. I'm starting with the darker pink color. The floss number is 3722. And I'm going to use this on the first big rose on the corner of the pattern. The first few stitches on this rose weren't too hard, but it was definitely a little challenging to get through those sections that are actually on the label where I'm trying to overlap the label with the floss. Once I got them all through though, it was easy enough, and then I started weaving through the 5 stitches of the rose. I did want this rose to stick out a bit, so I went ahead and used all 6 strands of floss on this one, and I think that was a good choice because it gave it more of a 3D look versus being a little bit flatter when you use less pieces of the floss. Since I already had this dark pink floss out, I'm just going to go ahead and do the second rose on the caddy corner from the first rose I did with that same dark pink or mauve, whatever you want to call it. Here you can see how those are looking. And then next I'm going to do the 2 other roses in that yellowish gold color that actually matches the Carhartt logo. After getting that third rose done, I just wanted to give you guys a nice close look at how it's coming together. I really love how the roses are looking overlapping that logo. Here's the 4th rose, and that's going to be the final rose on this one. Now I'm going to get started on these smaller flowers, which are supposed to be kind of like a daisy. I'm not really sure what that big one on the side is supposed to be, but hopefully it turns out good. For these ones, I am using the lighter pink color just to add some contrast in comparison to the darker pink roses. Here you can see an up close of those 2 little light pink flowers that I did, and now I'm going to work on the larger one on the side. This one I went ahead and sped up because it was pretty tedious. I think in the future I might do another flower similar to the other daisies on this section. After I got this one done, I wasn't super thrilled about how it turned out, but it's not the worst flower I've ever done. This is literally what happens when I step away from my work. my cat lays right on it. We're gonna move him out of the way so I can keep on working. After finishing the outside of that pink flower, I put some French knots in the middle of it just to kind of fill it in and add another texture to this pattern. I'm going to add some French knots on some of these leafy green sections as well, so that will tie it all together. I'm going to start with this dark green. Here you can see I did these little leaves or sticks on the outside. And next I'm going to do some of the gold French knots that I was talking about earlier around these other dark green sticks or leaves, whatever you want to call them. Originally I wasn't planning on adding these little gold French knots, but they turned out super cute, so I'm glad I ended up adding them in the end. I'm going to add them to the other side as well, as you can see here. Now all I have left to do is these just plain green leaves. I've noticed in the past that when I have these patterns with a large amount of this water-soluble paper, sometimes it's kind of hard to get it all to dissolve off. So on this one, I'm gonna kind of peel up the edges and then just trim off whatever paper I can that isn't held on by the stitching so that I don't have to dissolve off as much of this in the end. I wanted to leave it on there while I was actually doing the stitching so that it stayed flat and stayed down, but now I obviously don't need it anymore. After dissolving the water-soluble paper off, I am ready to flip this thing back to the right way instead of being inside out. And then I'm just going to flip the brim of it up so you can actually see the final finished pattern. For not doing a project like this before, I was super happy with how this turned out. I love how all the colors came together, and I can't wait to see either myself or somebody else wearing this around in the cold season coming up. Thanks again for watching.